The world sucks in a lot of ways. It doesn't take someone especially enlightened to see that. When you look at things like world poverty, I don't think it's controversial to say that there is room for improvement. We've created so much wealth and technological innovation, I think it's strange for anyone in the world to still go homeless or hungry. There is progress to be achieved in that sense. And even beyond that, there still persist questions that beg for an answer. Machines to be invented, great artists and leaders yet to be born. But how do we know when we've made it? When do we know when to stop trying? What are we even working towards? Could we even imagine what a perfect world would look like? I don't think we could find two people in the entire world that would answer these questions the exact same. After all, there are some out there that would see the perfect world as one ruled by an unquestioned theocracy, like in the old days. Does that make the whole exercise pointless, however? Should we throw our hands in the air and accept whatever system of order we have as an unquestioned good? I'd like to think not. Perhaps there is common ground to explore, some reconciling principles that can bring us all together. Survival of the species? Probably. Freedom sounds nice. What about compassion? This is getting a bit arbitrary. Maybe some focus on outcomes is what is more appropriate. After all, that's what this is all about, isn't it? The image of the perfect world that progress aspires to. Well, let's start. Stuff we can all agree on. I think we can all agree we don't want humanity to die out. You could probably find a few outliers, but let's assume this is a good place to start. Where can we go from there? Freedom for sure. It's all the rave these days. Sure, but freedom can mean different things to different people. After all, maybe to me, freedom means that I have the choice to do what I want when I want. The choices I make from one day to the next are mine alone. A free life is one purged of all obstacles to your own self-determination. The ones that make me sit at a desk for 8 hours a day so I can afford to pop antidepressants and back pain meds so I can continue to sit at said desk while watching the best days of my life drain slowly into the machine of GDP growth. For what at the end? A weekend that's spent canceling plans because I'd rather sleep in to recover from the stress of the week. Holidays just long enough to remind you how truly your life is owned by forces that you have no say in. This isn't living. I want to spend time with my family. I want to travel with friends. I'm tired of living my life for things I couldn't care less about. Corporate profits and government taxes? Fuck these things. I just want to have the freedom to live my life, you know? That's progress. My poor misguided child. I'm sorry that life doesn't give you enough free rides. Things aren't perfect, but this world you're proposing doesn't even make sense. I get up on Monday morning to go out and get the new graphics card for my computer and pick up some Chipotle on the way back home, but the people that work to make these things are also not really working, so those things don't get made in the first place? No, real freedom is about power. It is foolish to think that there's anything but might that can ultimately make right. If you don't have the will to seek that power in your own life, then you deserve what powers impose on you, by virtue of outcome, even if it's death. Why should I share with you? Just to subsidize your pathetic fantasies? Sure, I'll concede that maybe all my achievements come off the back of the greater society, but if I control the greater society now, why should I give anything back? Why should I let anything hold me back from conquering more? What right does anyone really have to tell me how far my ambition can go? Without the means to stop me, I say it amounts to nothing but jealous whining. From Attila the Hun to John D. Rockefeller, there is nothing more tragic to these stories than the tale of how they weren't able to go farther. How death and taxes held these men back from reaching higher peaks of existence, elevating the potential of the human experience to something truly more godlike. What you propose is the real slavery. You cap my potential to protect the freedom to sit around and finger paint all day? I want to conquer the stars, and while admittedly I need to stand on you a bit to get there, it disgusts me that you would hold back real progress for the sake of your small-minded pursuits. The triumphs of mankind will always rest on those with the will to seize power and use it for something greater. Look, I'm sorry, but I don't think you should have the freedom to enslave me. Maybe it's inevitable that injustice will always exist, but there has to be some obligation to minimize the suffering. How many times must we repeat this exercise? Revolutions, riots, bombs, blood and tears, wrought for nothing but the right to survive. Such a tragic distraction when we can think so much bigger than this. When inside every human being there is incredible potential. What if we lived in a world where every child was from the beginning provided for, every life empowered and given direction to realize it? Think of the untold potential of the millions of smart kids that grow up making bad decisions every day. Something can always be done. Think of what could be accomplished with all of us at our best, all of us healthy and able soldiers of progress. Maybe all in all a brighter picture than what we have now. I think you would be wise to think of your neighbor's well-being even as a means to boost your own. Our strength as people will always be our ability to communicate and work together. Our identities as individuals necessitate the existence of a collective, a community, an us. Looking out for them means they're looking out for you as well. Look, I'm sure even you don't want to see people suffer in the end, right? So maybe we can uphold compassion as a uniting principle along with freedom. Feeling empathy and some sense of altruism seem to be like one of those things that's hardwired into our brains, right? To some extent, why not use that to make sure that people, even if they're living under some weird power regime, have got happy, comfortable lives? Paradise sounds like progress to me. A place where we can be free from the chains of maybe not big business or big government, but of suffering. Well, maybe the worst ones at least. Hunger, disease, loneliness. Oh, enough already. If the ultimate goal is just so everyone gets what they want all the time, maybe we should just put everyone in lifelong simulators where they can live out their wildest fantasies for all eternity. Hey, we could even build a race of machines to maintain our simulation pods while we sleep, and then we could call this dream world the Matrix and pretend it's what we actually wanted the whole time. Give me a break. Well, let's think. Imagine if the Matrix instead had been a paradise where all your troubles are now replaced with the placid acceptance, a deserved complacency that our children will have earned through the sacrifice of the countless generations before them. A life lived for what their fathers could have never dreamed, soaring through galaxies in the morning, doing drugs with Jimi Hendrix and Ibiza in the afternoon. What better purpose could we hope to strive for than the elimination of suffering? It's what man has desired from the very beginning. Heaven, the fields of Elysium, some peaceful escape from the cold nightmare of reality. No, I don't accept this. This just sounds wrong. This flies in the face of any concept of freedom or compassion. All of us powerless to this simulation machine? All history would be gone. The future is distant a concept. This is death, the death of our species. We agreed to uphold that, the continuation of our way of life, and that life is one born of discomfort, pain, and resolve. There is a purpose to the tragic. There is meaning derived from our suffering. Many never rise above their circumstances. And sure, we don't have to say fuck those people, but are we supposed to turn around the other way and say fuck those that do? Your curiosity, drive, any notion of genuine self sucked out of you and replaced with some feeding tube formula? I don't want to die like that. I don't want to rest in some eternal simulation where we just sit around and do heroin all day. There's still so much left to do, so much left to aspire to. Why would you just destroy all that? Why would you instead lock us away to watch the heat death of the universe as shallow and ignorant as we've ever been? If this is the ultimate goal of progress, I just don't want any part of it. Call me scared or stuck in my ways. Well, I suppose there is something strangely sad about the idea. Everyone would be happy, alive by all physical measures, but almost in a fake way. What's real though anyways? What if we're all stuck in a simulation already? Some sick experiment run by alien Illuminati or some other whacked out thing? Would I even want to wake up? To something worse possibly? What's the value of being real if it's all just shit luck and helplessness in the end? My poor misguided child. The value is that victory is always born in the struggle. A burning desire for things to be better. We're crowned by our successes, but they're forged in our failures. If you have a dream for everyone to sit around eating kale, holding hands, and singing Kumbaya, then you gotta go get it, no matter how many times you fall. It's a bright future out there. You just have to reach out and grab it. Well, I think it's fair to say we've heard some different perspectives today. Pretty productive, actually. Let's see, what do we find? Well, for one, I think we discussed that community is important. I mean, we're social creatures. We live in groups. We have families, friends, and whatnot. Let's take care of each other, you know? It can't only just be about me. Let's work together, use each other's strengths to do stuff we couldn't do on our own. The possibilities are endless here. Apes together strong. Next, let's see. Yes, we discussed that although suffering sucks, you just can't hope to get rid of all of it. We need a little bit of this bad to understand what the good is, a little bit of the sadness to appreciate the happy. Now, that's not to say that suffering should just be ignored, just to say that, we're only human. We're not smart enough to design what a perfect world is. But it's in striving for our dreams that maybe we find the truest versions of ourselves. So let's keep striving for it, the same way we've always done. Together.